Welcome back to Old Guy REI. This morning I thought I'd do a work band confessions live because I need to talk through some things, maybe get your opinions to see if you have any thoughts that might be beneficial to us here. If you don't know me, my name's Frank. I'm a general contractor here in Watsonville, California. Been at it for quite some time, over 30 years now. And my wife's a teacher. Recently, we've been thinking about retirement and wondering if we would be able to retire. This is her last year teaching, and thankfully, she will get to retire next year. We've, a few years ago, probably back in the mid 2000s, we had tried investing in some rental properties to help us in retirement because I just woke up one day and realized I hadn't anything saved for retirement. So I panicked and I started investigating or trying to educate myself on ways I could save money quickly so that by the time we did retire, we would have a little nest egg. My wife does have some retirement savings through her teaching, and like I said, I didn't have anything. So we, or I, first I started looking at like investment accounts and things like that, but it didn't seem like there was a way for me to put enough money in there to make a difference in retirement. So through that process, I ran across a group of real estate investors, and it sparked my interest again. So I started educating myself because the first time we tried it, I didn't know anything, and we bought a couple rentals and didn't know how to run them, didn't know how to keep them, and we ended up losing those. So after that, we ended up going through bankruptcy, and that was in 2010. We just chugged along, and in recent weeks I've been talking to friends and friends in the investment community because I was able to start educating myself on how you're supposed to run the business. And I think this time around we're doing better, but there are still questions because like I said, I'm 62 this year. My wife is retiring after this year of teaching, and I'm okay if I still need to work for a few more years. I think if I'm able to work part-time, that might be beneficial, but things are just expensive, right? We don't travel. We don't really travel. We don't spend a lot of money in many ways, but things are just expensive. Right now, our mortgage is fairly high because when we bought those properties back in 2007, we pulled equity from our primary, so it was a good thing that we didn't lose that house at the time when we went through bankruptcy. So one of our thoughts right now, and maybe if you guys have any suggestions on how we could maybe make things a little bit easier in retirement, we're thinking of selling our place here in California and taking the equity that we have here and moving to another state. Could be just another area, maybe. I don't think there's any place less expensive to live in California, but I think if we move to another state, we could we could probably buy something mostly cash, and then we wouldn't have such a high mortgage payment. That's the biggest expense for us right now. I do have a couple of health issues, so there are medications that I need to pay for each month. Um, and just basic needs, utilities and food. And like I said, we don't really like to travel or go too many places. I think we'll mostly be homebodies, but even that can cost a bit. So I've been looking into different ways to create multiple streams of income, and they don't have to be huge streams, but anything will help. We're actually designing some merchandise for the channel, for this channel, and my son's helping us with that. I'm looking into actually writing a book, because our journey has been kind of a crazy one, and we started this channel hoping that we could help other people understand what it takes to buy rentals and run the business properly. And I think one of the thoughts that popped into my head this morning was, and I never really thought about it, but I do hear it a lot in the community, that there are a lot of people that don't like landlords. And I guess a lot of people have reasons to dislike landlords, because there are a lot of bad ones out there. I think we fall under the category of good landlords. We like to take care of our properties. We like to make sure that they're clean and safe, and we're happy that we can provide housing for someone out there that might need it. But I get it. People think that all landlords are greedy and they're just slumlords, things like that. So, and I know there are some of those out there, but that's not the category that we fall into. So we picked up a few properties. That will hopefully add to our monthly income soon. We've been at it for 5 years now, and it's taken a little while to get things stabilized. I think we could have purchased properties in better areas, maybe purchase properties that were in better shape, because we did have to put quite a bit of money into them over the last couple of years. But now that we have done that, they're in nice shape. They're clean, nice looking places for people to live in, and they're all full. We have, I think, 6 properties to date. We have some small multifamily and a few single families, and we haven't had any major expenses for the last few months. We did just have to sell one property that became a problem because of the tenant, and I think the area was probably the lowest class. I didn't realize it at the time. I thought we were buying in a C minus area, but it was probably, I guess it ended up being a D class property. And one of our friends, one of our big mentors, talks about the fact that you can go broke buying cheap, and that property was inexpensive, but I didn't really consider it cheap in that sense. It was only $60,000 for, it was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath place, and we had issues with it, so we ended up selling it. That was actually a turnkey property we bought from a turnkey provider, and that's how we got started. As I mentioned, we're here in California. Things are pretty expensive. We were looking for a way to get in to real estate investing, so I went out of state. We started buying turnkey properties through turnkey providers, and that's been a good way for us to get started. My main goal was to build something that could help us get by if something happened to me and I couldn't work anymore. my main concern is my wife, just to make sure that she's taken care of, and our son as well. Our son is on his way, but you know, at the time we were all still living together, and I wanted to make sure they were both taken care of. And I guess in the worst case, they could sell everything that we've purchased, right, and have some money to live on, probably last them a while. Um, so the other things, like creating merchandise, that could be something that gets in the future here. Writing a book. I've been a contractor for a long time, so I've been putting together some thoughts on different things like home remodeling topics and things like that that might be helpful to people if they're considering remodeling. I've done a lot of kitchens and bathrooms, so that's something that I have a lot of knowledge about and would be great to share. But I don't know if you guys have any other suggestions on maybe some side hustles that you've been successful at, that have helped you, and just other thoughts, because I know for us we'll have Social Security, at least for now. If that goes away, we might be in trouble. But then we'll have some money coming in from the rental properties, hopefully a little bit of a trickle here and there through some of the other endeavors. I guess my overall thought is I've done the best I can. And hopefully it's enough. I don't know, like I mentioned, over the last few months, talking to people about how I just was going through life day by day, and I didn't even think about, I guess I never really thought about retiring. You just assume that Social Security is going to be there and that it's going to be enough to live on, but in actuality, it's not even close to enough to live on. I hear about some people, moving to places where their rent is very inexpensive and you can live on, $1,000 or $2,000 a month. So I think we're going to have to end up finding one of those places. Hopefully it'll be a nice place and someplace that my wife is happy being. I see a couple of comments. I'm going to take a quick look and see if I can answer questions if there are some. Well, Josh, good morning. I appreciate your comment. Thank you. I could use a free set of tires. Tire Magician. Hey, Flavio, good morning. Yeah. Yeah, I think we were talking about tools. There's a lot of tools in here. I guess I could sell them all if I needed some money to live on. But thanks, you guys. I know there are some other lives going on this morning, but I just had to get my thoughts out. And now I can go on with my day. So hopefully you guys will have a great day as well, and we'll look forward to chatting with you guys. We have a meeting this evening, and I'll be there trying to come up with some topics for us to discuss. Last week there was a lot of great information shared, so we'll hopefully catch you guys there.